yourself a break. Here you'll find some love, music, laughter, and above all, she'll dare to tell the truth. And so come to Granny's place and give your spirit a big boost.
Welcome to Granny's Place, a haven for love, entertainment, and uncommon sense, where Granny Beth offers commentary, answers your personal questions, and plays the piano, all with a twinkling in her eye, love in her heart, a delightful sense of humor, amazing insight, and a gorgeous grand piano. Granny is also known as Beth Green, commentator, improvisational pianist, intuitively guided counselor, longtime social activist, author of 6 books and 4 CDs of music, original music, and founder of the innerrevolution.org. And she's here for us every Wednesday starting at 6:30 p.m. And so now, without further ado, here's Granny!
Welcome to Granny's Place. Well, I've already forgotten the time that we were supposed. Oh, I think I remember. You know, when you get old, it's amazing the things that start happening. The other thing is I have a new headset because we're in a different place. I don't know if you've noticed it, but we are yet in a different set because we have 2 places and where we do Granny's Place. So this is the second one. This is different. And anyway, God knows what's going to happen today.
Granny's Place is in more than one place.
But whatever happens today, you're going to be with us, right?
That's right.
That's the important thing, is that we should be together.
Yeah.
So, yes. So I'm supposed to be doing commentary now, right?
Yes, that's right.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I said that I was going to start a series where I was going to talk about building a better world. That it isn't good enough just to be against things. We have to figure out what the I didn't say that. What the heck? What the heck is what I was trying to say. We going for and how to get there. So, well, I mean, and how to get there is 2 levels, isn't it? Is how are we going to get ourselves to the place that we even can try something new in our world? And once we're there, what are we going to do? So, okay, so that's a little bit out there, but I want to start at the beginning. And so that's the idea of a series. You see, I don't have to answer all the questions now since I couldn't anyway, but I do want to start somewhere. And what I want to start with is us. As usual, being an inner revolutionary, I do tend to start with us. And what I want to start with is, are we willing to acknowledge what's wrong with the world we already have? I mean, how can you change the world or build a better one if you already think you have a great world and that there's nothing wrong? Nothing wrong? Nothing wrong? Nothing wrong? Oh no, nothing wrong. Stress, everybody's stressed, everybody's worried about money or their health or their looks or something, or whether their husband's cheating on them. You
or their
wouldn't
wife.
dare. You wouldn't dare. Or whether the Honduran immigrants are going to invade your house, or whether there's going to be World War IV, or whatever. I think we're already in World War III, don't you think? So
Yeah, constant wars, that's for sure.
So anyway, everybody is stressed, and we seem to do stupid things to ourselves and to our planet. Isn't that interesting? I mean, I'm not going to get into this part too much today, but we do stupid things to ourselves, like, okay, it's holiday time, binge time. And what did you eat for Thanksgiving, right? And how did you feel? And anyway, or what did you drink, or what drugs did you
Christmas is coming. Are you going to binge on the shopping?
Oh my God, so true, so true. So we do stupid things to ourselves. When I say they're stupid, I mean they hurt us, and yet we seem compelled to do them. But we do the same thing in our society. We have very cockamamie priorities, and the worst, and I'll tell you why I think it's the worst, is climate change. I mean, climate change, it's because it impacts everybody and the viability of our existence at all. I mean, this isn't like, okay, I just snorted and I'm like, oh, and I'm going to lose my job. I mean, we're talking about snorting on the global level and we're going to lose our planet. But hey, no problem. I mean, we're not going to lose the planet. We're just going to be dead, that's all. Or we're going to be very impoverished or we're going to be very unhappy. So, we had a climate report this week. I'm sure you heard about it. And it
From the White
said,
House, no
from
less.
the White House, no less, and
But it was dictated by Congress.
well, it was written by scientists.
Yeah, that way it was.
So that was the point. It was dictated by scientists instead of politicians. And they said what we already know, which is things are really bad and they're only going to get catastrophic. But, and the response from the White House was, of course, oh, I don't believe it. Oh, no. California wildfires, nah, flooding, nah, nothing. Just because some islands are falling into the sea is no reason to think that there's global warming. Oh no, it's all a hoax. So anyway, we've got that going on, but we know that, right? But I'm not here to talk about how the president reacted. I'm talking about how we react. Now, there's something very wrong with the way that we are producing and consuming goods and services on this planet, that it's actually jeopardizing our very existence, right? Not to speak of the poor animals and the plants. Well, the germs are doing well. They will bless us. Our children will curse us, but the germs are saying, oh, zippity-doo-dah, zippity-hey, because we've got more place to go. And we're going to get worse. So this is worse than a sci-fi movie, isn't it? And yet, most people are still thinking, so what am I getting for Christmas this year? Now, I understand. I mean, I'm a person. I am very self-absorbed, too. I admitted it. I am self-absorbed. But while we're being self-absorbed, saying, oh, what kind of gifts should I get my children? What about a burnt-out planet? I think we should give my son Harold global warming for Christmas, and then let him worry about it. Yes. Well, I'm not kidding. Most of us are still paralyzed with the upset about it and are just like diving back into our personal lives and pretending that none of this is really mattering to anybody or that it's going to make a difference. I mean, how many of you have been thinking, now I know there are people who are totally obsessed with climate change, and God bless you. Especially when you're a scientist and you know what you're talking about. See, I would never want to get into a debate because then that would assume that I could remember facts. I don't need to remember facts. I've been living on the planet, and I remember the fact that every year it gets hotter and hotter, and there's more wildfires, and there's more storms and all of that. But there are actual facts, and they're sort of scary. So why don't we want to acknowledge this? Why aren't we all talking about this every day? Why aren't we pressuring the government? Why aren't we saying to the new Democrats, you are there to do something about climate change. We have to do something about climate change. We have to do something. Why aren't the Republican people getting on their legislators and on their president and saying, get over yourself. We are in crisis. Well, guess why? Because we always seem to prefer denial. It's our favorite thing. Because it's too hard to think about, because there are too many things to change. So I have a little analogy for you to start out our series on building a better world. So we have to acknowledge that something very wrong with the way that we produce and consume everything, because all of that impacts climate change. It's a big deal. It's our manufacturing. It's our wasteful, fast clothing industry. It's our polluting. It's the food we eat. It's like pretty all encompassing. And then the health crisis that's going to come with it. But anyway, so my analogy is this. Supposing we lived in a society, oh, we'd never be this stupid, of course, but supposing we did live in a society that made houses out of paper. So pretty, pretty little paper mache houses, and we can decorate them, and we can change them every year, and they're so, well, they do tend to sag in the winter. They're maybe not that well insulated, and maybe, it gets a little wet, and then, well, goody, we can build more. Think of all the people who would be in the housing industry if our houses were continuing to be made of paper, because
Paper mache.
Paper mache, paper anything. You know what I mean? We would have lots of people out there all the time repairing.
Yeah.
And,
Jobs.
job security. And then we'd have to build more all the time. Oh, goody, 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 goody. Money. We could make lots of money because, now some idiot comes along and says, I've discovered there's something called bricks. Bricks? Bricks? Who the heck would use a brick to build a house? Don't you know that my father built houses for decades with paper? And my father was a great man. And think about the entire industry. They wouldn't fool us. The entire housing industry says bricks are not good for building houses. And would they lie to us? And anyway, I know how to live in a paper house. I don't know what to do with a brick house. This is all too unfamiliar. I can't do that. I can't think about this. It would change everything. We can't do that. No, let's stick to our paper houses, shall we? You think I'm kidding? Is there any difference between that and our continuing to burn fossil fuel, which is killing our planet?
And creating carbon emissions that create the greenhouse effect, that create more and more heat.
Exactly. When we could do something different. Oh, no, we can't do that. It's different. My father did it this way. There's a whole industry. We have lots of car factories. What are we going to do? We can't do that. Anyway, the automobile industry hasn't said that we should be building electric cars or cars that run on peanut butter or whatever the alternatives are. You get what I'm trying to say? So, what I'm saying on my first commentary on this thing about how we're going to build this better world is we have to admit what's wrong. And the first thing that's wrong is that we don't want to change. We like the familiar. We can't think big. We say, no, we can only change this. All right, maybe the entryway. I'll put a brick step here instead of the paper. I'll admit that. That entryway was pretty lame. Well, you know something, guys? We have to change. We have to change everything. We have to change everything about the way we think and the way we live. And that is the first commentary that I have about how we're going to build this better world, is we have to start admitting that that there is something desperately wrong with the world we live in, and I just kind of alluded to that, and that we really have to change everything, and that the biggest problem, the biggest obstacle to that is us. And then, of course, we have the political system that's based on people getting elected and not telling us things that we don't want to hear, while people are secretly behind the scenes representing the paper housing industry. See you next week for the next part of the commentary. But before we go, we have questions.
We do have questions.
We have questions.
Yes, we do.
Lots
First
of
question is for
questions.
Granny. Shall we start now on that?
Certainly.
This one's from Anonymous.
For Granny, I like that. Someone that remember to send us your questions. Go to any post and scroll down to where it says
On
send.
Facebook.
Yes. So, scroll down to where it says send Granny, ask Granny your questions, or ask Madame Mazurka, and she's going to make an appearance here today too.
Mm-hmm.
And you click, and it's very easy. Anonymously or with your name, you can ask me a question, and I answer all questions in the order I receive them.
Okay, first question is from Anonymous.
Hello.
I'm a 19-year-old male who has just come out as gay. I'm also seriously depressed. I've been questioning my gender identity after coming out. Now I'm wondering if I'm distracting from moving on with my life by focusing on that. I'm not working or going to school and don't seem to be able to take that next step in growing up. I am in counseling and on an antidepressant already. Any suggestions?
Well, first of all, congratulations on coming out. And congratulations on having the self awareness to ask the question that you asked. You asked me if, okay, so you've come out, something is resolved already. And now you're saying, well, am I really gay? And could I be using that as a way of distracting from dealing with my other problems? Well, if I'm understanding your question correctly, then you darn straight stop questioning. You came out as gay, congratulations, be happy. If you change your mind later, you can change your mind, but don't do it now. It's like set that one thing behind you and say, I know who I am now. Why has it taken me so long to come out as gay? Why have I been afraid to admit that I'm gay? Now, as I say, you can question that later if you want to, but let's just start assuming that you are gay and work with that. Okay, so why have I refused to admit this before or to come out before to others? Well, maybe it's because I knew they wouldn't approve. Maybe one day while I was in a restaurant, my father looked at a bunch of gay people at the next booth and rolled his eyes. Well, and I knew I was gay. Well, squelch, squelch, daddy won't love me, or mommy, or my sister, or my brothers, or
my friends.
My friends, or my society, it was worse before. That's all I can tell you. It was worse for gays, even though it's not good now. Okay. So you may have had an underlying feeling like, who I am is no good. Who I am is no good. Oh my God. Is that depressing? I think that is super depressing. It's like you think there's something fundamentally wrong with you. And then from there, there's probably other things that you think are fundamentally wrong with you. Maybe you have had a tendency towards depression that came in the family. Or maybe you have a funny nose. Or maybe you're not athletic. Or maybe, who knows what? Maybe you're ADD. So now you know fundamentally you're no good because you're gay. And maybe your parents were okay about it. Maybe they weren't. But maybe it's just the rest of society. So you think that there's something fundamentally wrong with your gay. And then you have to suppress it. I can't let anybody know. Oh, I have to repress myself. Oh, yes. So that's not healthy. Repressing yourself is not a good way to live, right? And then there's going to be other things wrong with you. And then one thing piles on top of the other. And before you knew it, you feel like, about yourself. But obviously you have intelligence. You have intelligence because you're in counseling. You're willing to take an antidepressant if you need it. And you're asking the question if you're distracting yourself from moving on with your life. So have you taken that in? That you actually are pretty cool? Pretty cool guy? And, it's pretty cool to be gay. Don't worry, James. Why is it pretty cool to be gay? Because if that's who you are, it's pretty cool to be you. And it's pretty cool to be straight and trans and bi and or whatever you are. If it's you, it's good. So then you start looking in the mirror and saying, what's good about me? What is good about me? Now, what do I have? If I can do this and I can do that, like I can get myself to counseling and I can get myself to acknowledge that I am gay, what is the next step of what I can do? And take that next step. Maybe you say that you're not going to school, but I bet you did go to school at some time in your life, right? That means you've done it before. Oh, yes, I was able to do that. well, maybe I should look at a curriculum or go down and look at the school or just check into registration. Or maybe I can volunteer at the homeless shelter. Or maybe I can take in a pet who needs an adoption. So you can start doing things that you can do, like one little thing at a time, and get on with your life and start building on what you've already done right. So I hope that this helps, but I think I have to go because
Wasn't there
I've
one
gotta-
other thing that you had thought of about connecting with other gay people?
Oh, yes.
The gay community
Yes. The
support?
reason that Sweet Baby James is saying this is because we had a disaster and we had to do this twice. So what I said to you last time, of course I said completely different things this time than I said last time because I couldn't remember. I can't say the same thing twice. It's hard. Anyway, because I'm an intuitive and have no memory. But
Same thrust, however.
yes, I think that's great. I think you should go and connect to some other gay people if you haven't already. And I don't mean just romantically. I mean just get support and find out how they're feeling and how they have coped with similar kinds of things. And just start seeing how many cool people there are in your community and what they have to offer you. Don't be alone with this. Okay, I better
Very
get
good.
going.
Okay, then. Our next question is from Madame Mazurka.
Darling, I'm coming.
She has the scarf in her hands. She's becoming Madame Mazurka.
The last time I did this, the scarf, it was all messed up, right? So I'm doing the other time before the other time. So I'm here. I'm dead. I'm Transylvanian. I'm very psychic. I'm so smart. I'm gorgeous. I'm forever young. And I love answering your questions. And I wish that you would send questions and say, Dear Madam M or Madam Mazurka, because if you don't write to Madam Mazurka, she, Granny Beth Green, who rocks, is going to take over. But it's my turn. This is my part of the show. You should always address. In fact, I think we should make it a requirement that you write to Madam Mazurka. So from now on, every question goes to Madam Mazurka. And if she wants to say something, she can try to intercede.
Ooh, sounds like a palace coup.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. This one's from Anonymous. Hello, Madam Mazurka. I work in social services, and while trying to meet people's everyday needs is never an easy task, the holiday season, with all of its exaggerated expectations of happiness and gifts, makes it almost impossible. I get so many more voicemails this time of year asking about assistance with food, bills, and Christmas gifts for children. I dread having to call people back because usually I can't provide them with what they're asking for. Between my anger in a society that doesn't take care of one another and my guilt about having what I need and more, I just want to scream or run away or both. Any words of wisdom?
I'm screaming with you, darling. It's ridiculous how this society is the billions on nonsense and they're taking food stamps away from the people and there isn't enough for the poor people. It's getting worse and it's worse and it's worse and it's worse. So I feel the same way you do. So you're not crazy, and we're saying there's a lot of people who feel the same way you do now. But what are we going to do for you? Well, you were talking about the holiday season, all its exaggerated expectations of happiness and gifts. I think you have an exaggerated, let me try to say that word again in English, exaggerated expectation of yourself in this job. You can't do much in the sense that you can't fix the society that frankly stinks. So, what are you going to do? So you go in there and people are needing everything, and you're going to give them a peanut butter sandwich. I think peanut butter has come up again twice today.
It did, yes, come up, yes.
I don't
When we were
understand.
talking about the alternate society.
Nobody in this house eats peanut butter. But anyway, but obviously we're paid by the peanut butter lobby. That's how we have this whole show. We have a sponsor. So I'm kidding, just in case there's somebody out there. But if you are in the peanut butter lobby and you want to send a donation, we could use some money. So anyway, so here you are, you're giving out a peanut butter sandwich, and the world needs vegetables, healthy food, and you feel terrible. And the energy around Christmas, joy to the world, makes it even more poignant. So, but the fact is, you're miserable every day because every day you can barely help these people because you don't have the resources. But one thing you have, darling, because you want to know if you should scream, well, go ahead and do that, or run away, but don't do that. You know why you shouldn't do that, darling? Because then those people wouldn't have you. And for some people, you're pretty much all they have. I mean, there's some people, they have family who love them and maybe help them out too, unless they're just as poor, which also happens. But for some of them, you're it. They like to talk to you because they feel you love them or you care, or they hope you do. So if you run away, you are running away from the thing you can do. So it's just like she said to that young man that he should be looking at what he can do. You have to look at what you can do and say, it may not be enough, but it's better than nothing, because without me, those people would have nothing. And sometimes it's just that you're giving them love, sometimes you're giving them advice, sometimes you're giving them guidance, sometimes you're giving them an ear to listen to. We don't even know, darling. You don't know when you get off the phone what you've done for that person. So you don't lie to them and you tell them, I'm so sorry I can't offer you more, but I care and I'm listening, and this is what I can tell you. And that's very important. And that is your holiday gift to many people who are suffering. So give yourself that. Scream if you want to. Look in the mirror and say, you matter. You're helping to the best of your ability. And join us at Granny's Kitchen. And talk with us about these things, about how you could maybe get involved as the inner revolutionary, because obviously you already know that the world needs a revolution, an inner revolution. We have to change our priorities, don't we, darling? So join us. If you want to know how to join Granny's Kitchen, you go back to that post on Facebook and you go down, and then it's to join Granny's Kitchen. It's a video conference. We talk to each other. You can use the phone, you can use the computer, and we talk about all the questions that were on the show, and Granny leads. She does, what can I say? But again, she's better than nothing too.
High praise indeed.
Indeed. So in the meantime, everybody, here are my books that sweet baby James talked about. 2 of them are free for nothing. Not that they're worth nothing. They're worth a lot. Millions, billions.
Priceless.
Not my books, really. They're her books, but I feel like I was a part, too. Anyway, on the theinnerrevolution.org. That's the name of the website. You go in there and you go private time. You can get counseling from Granny. There's a little schmitchick that says private time with Granny. And then there's free
there's 2 books
download.
you can download for free.
Free.
One is a handbook for the inner revolution, the ebook.
That's the little one, so you shouldn't be intimidated.
And then this is the big one,
That's the
living
big
with
one.
reality.
Oh boy.
Who we are, what we could be, and how we get there.
And they're free on the internet. And take a look at that and consider joining Granny's Kitchen or in some other way supporting the inner revolution, which is the revolution on the inside that's going to change everything. And come back next week, and I'm going to continue with my series about building a better world. How are we going to do that? What do we want? How are we going to do that? You see, I'm taking over completely.
You have taken over
I know
from Granny.
She's not going to. I mean, I'm going to try to shut her up.
So who's going to say
possible.
goodbye today?
So I'm going to say goodbye today. So come back, and also, would you share this? Tell your friends about Granny's Place. Don't keep this a delightful secret of your own. You are making waves when you send out Granny.
That's right.
And Sweet Baby James. So we'll see you next week. I hope we'll see you at Granny's Kitchen. We love you. And shut up, Beth. You can come out next week. And ask me back. Send me questions. It's so boring when you're dead.
There we go.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now. See you next time.